Namaskar and welcome to all. My name is Velu Mehra and I am Senior Academic Mentor at Auro Bharati, which is a vertical of Sri Aurobindo Society that studies and conducts research on how the eternal and timeless spirit of India can be reborn and renewed in forms that are relevant for today and tomorrow. And we do this in the light of Sri Aurobindo's and Mother's vision for the future of India and her role in the evolutionary march of humanity and the world. So as we all know, this year, all around the country and world, various programs and events are being held as part of the celebrations of the start of the 150th birth anniversary of Sri Aurobindo. Sri Aurobindo Society has also been conducting several programs, and one such program is titled India, Our Mother. It's actually more of an overarching theme for various programs that are part of it or will be part of it in various spheres. And all of those are going to be launched with this one aim that they serve toward the ongoing regeneration and renewal of India, whether it has to do with any aspect of her body or her evolving social cultural landscape or her deep inner temperament and unique genius. So within this umbrella of India, Our Mother, today we are starting with a series of public lectures on various topics that have to do with the spirit and forms of Indian culture. Our first lecture today is titled Ayurveda and Yoga in Indian Temple Sculptures. We are happy today that it's almost coinciding with the festival of Dhanatrayodashi or Dhanteras that is coming up on November 2nd, the day that marks the emergence of Lord Dhanvantari, the god of healing, the divine source and origin of Ayurveda. So that day, as we know, is also celebrated as National Ayurveda Day. So we are really pleased today to bring this lecture on this topic, very special topic that beautifully intersects the realms of health and healing and Indian art and sculpture. So before we invite our speaker for the evening, Ms. Rekha Rao, to share her valuable insights on the topic, I want to mention that this series of lectures is being organized in collaboration with Auro Yagna, another vertical of Sri Aurobindo Society. And at this point, I would invite Ms. Shweta from Auro Yagna to briefly introduce the mission and the work of Auro Yagna. Shweta?
Thank you, Diludi, and once again, welcome all of you. So I'll very briefly explain what Auro Yagna is doing to Rekhaji and everyone who is present here. So Auro Yagna, and the title is A Divine Life in a Divine Body. So from its subtitle, we all can understand that what Auro Yagna is looking forward to, what we are aiming towards. So Sri Aurobindo had said all life is yoga, and we are really trying to bring that into our work, in our life, in every sphere of life, you can say. But especially we are focusing on the physical. We are starting with the physical, and we know that we cannot stop there because it is an integral and integrated way of living and leading in spirituality, what Sri Aurobindo has proposed. So that's what Auro Yagna is striving towards. We are putting our efforts, we are putting a sincere aspiration for this work. And that's why I was so happy to start with this topic, which Diludi came up with, that Indian temples. So in one of the lines of Savitri also, and also in many other writings, Sri Aurobindo has mentioned, and also Mother has explained that we need to keep the temple clean if we really want to welcome the higher force, the divine. So it is really very beautiful to start with this. Once again, thanking Rekha Ji for accepting this invitation. Thank you.
Thank you, Shweta. And we're really happy that so many people have joined us for this program. And a very, very warm welcome to Rekha ji, our esteemed speaker for the day. And may I now request Mr. Ram Kumar Loganathan, who has just, as of today, joined Auro Bharati team as a research and editorial assistant for our monthly e-journal, Renaissance. And I request him to kindly introduce our speaker for the evening. Ram, thank you.
Thank you, Belaji. So good evening, everyone, again. So I would like to introduce our today's speaker, Ms. Rekha Rao. So Ms. Rekha Rao is an independent scholar with special interest in Indian temple architecture, sculpture, and deciphering of Indian Indus seals from a Vedic perspective. She has a master's in Indology from the University of Mysore and has also done research under the guidance of Dr. S.R. Rao, the former Deputy Director General, Archaeological Survey of India. An accomplished classical dancer herself, Ms. Rao is particularly interested in the depictions of Apsaras, Shalapanjikas, and Daikinis in Indian temples. She has visited and closely studied various temples in India and is also the author of several books, including Therapeutics in Indian Sculptures, Rani Ki Vav Kathan, and Ayurveda in Indian Temples, depiction of herbal medicines through Apsaras and Shalapanjikas. So we are really excited to listen to Ms. Rekha Rao's talk today. So yeah, over to Beluji.
Thank you, Ram. And thank you, Rekha ji, for agreeing to be our first speaker for this series of lectures. So it's all yours. Please enlighten us with your insights on this wonderful topic of Ayurveda and yoga as depicted in Indian temple sculptures. Looking forward to it. Thank you.
Yeah. Namaste, everybody. I thank Sri Aurobindo Society for inviting me to present a talk on Ayurveda and yoga in Indian temple sculptures. I thank Dr. Belu Mehra and Ms. Shweta Shekhar and Mr. Ram Kumar for introducing me to the viewers. I'm really sorry for the technical problems that we came across. I apologize for that. I continue with my talk. Ayurveda and yoga are two of the several branches of heritage knowledge of India. These two topics are like guides that have contributed to humankind explaining how to enjoy an evolved and purposeful way of living. The science and philosophy of Ayurveda and yoga were part of everybody's knowledge in ancient times. All through the ages, the various branches of yoga were depicted in the sculptures of temples in a diffuse way. But the related information on the theme or the text followed never got mentioned in any temple inscription. Now I proceed to slide 2 for agenda. In today's presentation, I cover 3 aspects: the classification of Vedic and the post-Vedic literature to explain the origin of Ayurveda and yoga. This is followed by a discussion of Ayurveda and the depiction of medicinal plants in the sculptures of Shalapanjikas. Then I explore the sculptures that depict the essence of yoga, especially the Ashtanga Yoga Sutra in sculptures. Many illustrations support the lecture. Now let's look at slide 3. Slide 3 is the classification of Vedic scriptures. The topic I discuss is highlighted in blue color in the chart. The Sahitya of Sanatana Dharma, meaning the ancient literature of Hindus, is with a religious stamp of Hinduism. The propagation of Vedic and post-Vedic literature were classified as Shruti and Smriti phases. In the Vedic period, the 4 Vedas were learned by oral communication using the faculty of hearing because the language script had not yet evolved. The post-Vedic phase was called Smriti, which means recollection. The derivatives of Vedic knowledge was remembered and written in Smriti literature. Smriti phase of literature evolved into 6 schools of philosophy based on Vedas and Upanishads. The elaborate interpretations that codified the Vedic thought of living life in a very meaningful way were discussed under 6 branches of philosophy. They were under 2 main categories. Firstly, the ones that outline the code of conduct, and secondly, the ones that expound Shastras. Of the 6 branches, Purana, Itihasa, Dharmashastra relates to the first type, the ones that outlines the code of conduct. Then Vedanga, Shed Darshana, and Upaveda were the ones that expound Shastra. Of the 6 branches, 6th branch, Upaveda, were the subsidiary applied knowledge of the 4 Vedas associated with the technical fields of arts and science. The 4 Upavedas were Ayurveda, was associated with Rigveda, which dealt with medicine for health and longevity. Dhanurveda was associated with Yajurveda, which dealt with the science of archery and warfare. Then thirdly, Gandharva Veda was associated with Samaveda, dealing with the science of arts, music and dance. Fourthly, Shastra. Arthashastra was associated with Atharva Veda that dealt with military technology and science of governing by the kings. Ayurveda is associated to Rigveda as a Upaveda because it dealt with the science of herbal medicine for health and longevity. Now we can explore how the knowledge of Ayurveda was connected to Rigveda. Ayurveda etymology is from Ayu, means life, and Veda is knowledge. It is the science of life. Looking into the historical data, the literary reference of a physician, the Vaidya, to use plants as the source of herbal medicines is in Rigveda Mandala 1. It's 1.114. It describes Rudra as the giver of good health for 2- and 4-footed ones, which means men and cattle. Stanzas are in praise of the deity Rudra, who was very strong himself. He knew the hidden medicinal values in water plants, creepers, shrubs, and trees by roaming in forests. The healing power of Rudra was his incredible quality. He was eulogized as Bhishajam, the supreme Vaidya. He was the curer of widespread of diseases. Puranas mention Lord Dhanvantari, the celestial physician, incarnated as a king and spread the knowledge to the community of physicians. Later in history, the knowledge of herbal medicines was propagated through both literary and sculptural representations in stupas and temples. The knowledge of Ayurveda is oceanic in nature. The method of extracting the essence of plant products and making preparations is outside the scope of this presentation. I'll be presenting 6 slides that depict how the different parts of medicinal plants were picturized in sculptures of Apsaras as Shalabanjikas. The intention of a representation in temple sculptures was twofold. Firstly, to propagate the medicinal values of some plants, and secondly, to add aesthetic value to monuments. I present slide 4. Slide 4 is the picture of how the female figures were associated with trees in plants. These pictures are from different temples. The most attractive, beautiful, and exciting part of Indian temple architecture is attributed to the sculptures of celestial beauties standing by the side of a tree. They are addressed as Shalabanjikas. Shala means a tree. Banjika means the doll, a puthali, holding the branch of a tree. These youthful female figures are always represented as semi-divine beauties holding the flowering branch or a fruit bunch. A closer study revealed that the depiction of trees was not just decorative motifs, but a realistic picture of varieties of trees highlighting the leaf and flower structure precisely. Today, I would like to explain what message they intend to convey. Interestingly, Shalabanjika figures were part of the Buddhist stupas and Hindu temples right from 3rd century BCE to much later period of the medieval age. They are part of temple architecture of India. Though semi-nude, they are adorned profusely with jewelry and were placed at a higher level, either on the pillars or on the temple's outer walls. The higher abode was because they were semi-divine celestial beauties. Further, it is interesting to understand why the female figures were prioritized for this association with trees. The Vedic sages have revered trees as mothers with divine status. They are the relievers of pain and restorers of health, bearing the strengthening sap in them for very long periods. The other belief was that when a young bride touches the tree in various ways, the blooming becomes profuse. This concept was conveyed through the association of Shalabanjikas with the trees as Dohada figures. In this session, I present 6 Shalabanjika figures with medicinal trees. The first 3 are flowering trees, namely Ashoka tree, Nagakesar tree, and orchid plants. The other 3 are Shalabanjikas with fruit trees depicting custard apple, noni fruits, and jumbo fruits. I present slide 5. Slide 5 is Shalabanjika with Ashoka flowers. This is Shalabanjika Yakshi with Ashoka flowers is from Barhut Stupa. It was built during 2nd to 1st century BCE in Madhya Pradesh. She is holding the flowers of Ashoka tree. The part of the stalk of the flower bunch held by Shalabanjika matches well with the red Ashoka flowers as shown in the figure, as shown in the picture. The most popular theme of Shalabanjika in Indian art is the recurrent association of celestial females with Ashoka tree and its flowers. Ashoka is a prevalent medicinal herb in Ayurveda. It was mainly used for treating a range of conditions related to the female reproductive system. The term Ashoka relates to that which reduces pain. Shoka means pain. Many parts of the tree, like the bark, leaves, and flowers, have medicinal values that reduce the pain during menstruation. Hence, it is called a practical woman's tonic. The bark extract is also anti-abortive, antibacterial, and diuretic. Ashoka flower buds were consumed with the hope of conception. Charaka Samhita, a treatise of 2nd century BCE, mentions that the Ashoka tree products acts as an anti-inflammatory and astringent, meaning that which contracts, and analgesic, a painkiller. It is a sedative tonic for ovarian tissues, uterine muscles, and endometrium. Hence, this tree is recurrently depicted in many temples as Shalabanjika figures. The rounded bunch of flowers, the inflorescence, has been depicted with excellent clarity in the sculptures. Now I present slide 6, a picture of a lady with Nagakesar tree. This is a Shalabanjika panel with Nagakesar flowers, and the actual picture of the flower is provided. Nagakesar is with the botanical family name Gultiferae. The 4-petal flowers are globular, woody fruits with 4 main valves are distinctly depicted in the Shalabanjika figure. In this picture, the beautifully decorated woman holds the twig with leaves in her right hand. In left hand, the flower bunch is held near pubic region. Nagakesar is a well-known medicinal plant widely used in indigenous medicine to heal burns, skin diseases, and it's a powerful expectorant. It's an astringent that contracts the tissues and canals, thereby diminishing the discharge of mucus or blood. The tree bark acts as a tonic after childbirth and is helpful in curing anemia and healing ulcers. She holds the twig with leaves and flowers near the pubic region in the left hand. This is self-explanatory. Seed oil is also used as an anti-rheumatic medicine. Now I present slide 7. This is women with orchid, the Vandaka plant. The female figures with orchid plant is from Ramappa Temple of Telangana, UNESCO World Heritage Monument. The second and third pictures are that of orchid plants and flowers. Orchids are the terrestrial epiphytes blooming in inflorescence in various colors. The pleasantly perfumed flowers that stay fresh for over a month are exquisite. The plant grows in a single central axis and flowers appear in lateral branches. The leaves are opposite. This is well depicted in the panel of Ramappa Temple. Flowers are in varied colors and chosen according to the rituals. The white flower symbolizes purity and innocence. The pink a feminine grace and joy. Purple is a mark of respect, and the orange colored ones symbolize pride, boldness, and enthusiasm. The perfume is used in aromatherapy. The extract is also a flavoring enhancer called vanilla in sweet dishes and baked dishes. It's used as a natural remedy for cough, lung, kidney, and stomach diseases for medicinal values. Orchid bulbs are believed to be powerful aphrodisiacs and used as a fertility medicine. The consumption of smaller bulbs is believed to promote the formation of female child, and the consumption of larger bulbs promotes the male baby. It's a favorite plant of women folk, and this is shown in the sculptured panel. Now I present slide 8. 8.1 is Shalabanjika with Ramphal tree. This is from Barhut Stupa railing belonging to 2nd to 1st century BCE. A Shalabanjika holds the fruit. A type of custard apple is called Ramphal branch. I have also provided the picture of Ramphal plant with long leaves and fruits, which are depicted well in the sculpture. Ramphal helps to reduce the risk of developing cardiovascular problems. It's a rich source of minerals like magnesium, potassium, and helps relieve acid accumulation in joints. Vitamin C in the fruit helps to dilate blood vessels in high cholesterol and high blood pressure cases and further regulate the conditions. It is known to enhance the immunity system of the body due to vitamin C content. The intention of displaying a damsel with this fruit is probably a message to protect the plant, grow more of its kind, and consume the fruits for their nutritional value. I present slide 9, Shalabanjika with the medicinal fruit called noni. This is a Shalabanjika with the noni fruits. This is from Rajarani Temple of Odisha. The zoomed part shows her smile and the picture of noni fruits called Ashuka fruits can be seen. The Sanskrit name for noni fruit is Ashuka, which means longevity. The celestial beauty is shaking the tree branch with a pleasant smile. The tree is identified by the long branch of leaves and potato-sized fruits. Noni fruit is also called Indian mulberry. Noni plant belongs to the family Rubiaceae. The ripe fruit is with many seeds and used to treat various ailments. It has a pungent odor and is called cheese fruit for this reason. The slimy pulp is sweetly sour. In Ayurvedic usage, the juice of the fruit is gargled to relieve sore throat. Fruit is also used in uterine hemorrhage, edema, and cough. The paste of the leaves and the stem bark is used to treat skin wounds and ulcers. The juice of the ripe fruit is used as a general tonic. Noni plant is a rich source of phytonutrients and boosts the immune system as it has anti-inflammatory, antiviral, antibacterial compounds. Various fruit beverages are made of this fruit that is rich in mineral content like iron, calcium, potassium, and sodium. I proceed now to slide 10. Slide 10 is Shalabanjika embracing the Jambu fruit tree. The Shalabanjika panel is from Madhukeshwara temple, Srikakulam in Andhra Pradesh. She is holding the Jambu fruit, also called Malabar black plum. The berries are in her left hand, which a parrot is eating. The Apsara stands resting her right leg on the Jambu tree stem and entwines her right hand on the branch. On the tree can be seen a Malabar giant squirrel, a rodent which is fond of this fruit. This is marked with an arrow in the picture. One of the fruits above her head is also partly eaten by the squirrel. Ayurveda strongly recommends this Jambu berry for treating various conditions of digestive system. The iron content in the highly nutritious fruit purifies blood and used to treat anemic conditions. The fruit is good for heart and controls diabetes as the calorie content is low. It's a good source of vitamin C and controls nausea, vomiting, etc. Our ancients understood the medicinal values well, and hence the fruit trees were depicted in temples as Dohata figures. These Apsara Shalabanjikas prove that Indian temple architecture had incorporated Ayurveda as part of its architectural creations. They also communicate to sale and propagate the particular tree for community well-being and utilize their medicinal values. Now I proceed to topic 2, yoga in temple sculptures. I present slide 11. Slide 11 is classification of Vedic scriptures. The chart is to explore the origin of yoga in literature. Post-Vedic Smriti literature was classified into 6 manuals of philosophy, of which Shaddarshanas was one branch. Shaddarshanas were the insights of sages based on Vedas and Upanishads. Shaddarshana was further classified into 6 branches or manuals, namely Nyaya, Sankhya, Yoga, Vaisheshika, Purvamimamsa and Uttarmimamsa. All 6 branches aim to attain the knowledge of the soul, but with different approaches. Each manual had its author and literature. Yoga was one branch of Shaddarshana, which sage Patanjali systematized. The Sanskrit term yoga means to join, combine, or unite. The most accepted usage of yoga refers to the harmony of body with the mind. This state negates the mind from the wandering state and enhances to a focused state. It is a science of health of body, mind, and spirit. It calls for active participation by the person who intends for good health and spiritual awareness. Every religion and school of philosophy in India has recognized yoga as the most scientific means of realizing philosophical truths. The founder of yoga was Lord Shiva as Adiyogi. Although not discovering the science of yoga, sage Patanjali of 3rd century BCE is revered as the creator of the most challenging task of gathering all information about body and mind in his treatise Patanjali Yoga Sutra. I move to slide 12. Now I discuss the classification of yoga. Yoga Shastra and Upanishads describe the 4 main parts of yoga. The choice of choosing the part depends on the nature of the personality. Raja Yoga is the yoga of disciplining the mind through meditation. Dana Yoga is the path of knowledge, the yoga of intelligence, yoga of higher knowledge to realize the ultimate truth. Bhakti Yoga is the spiritual path of devotion where emotions are used to realize the realization of God. And then Karma Yoga is the path of action, salvation through action or service to others. All paths have the same goal of the union of Atma with Paramatma, or individual consciousness with universal consciousness. A study of temples in different regions reveals that not all of them focus on the same theme of yoga. The very themes were according to the choice of the sponsorer of the temple. There is no one temple exclusively dealing with the entire depiction of yoga, but every temple has some information related to it. None of the sculptures depicting some aspects of yoga have inscriptions to say about the theme or the text followed. In later periods, many branches like Hatha Yoga, Kundalini Yoga, Tantra Yoga, Nada Yoga, and so on evolved. These topics are not discussed in today's talk. Now coming to Raja Yoga. Raja Yoga is referred to as Royal Path. It is a comprehensive method that deals with both physical and mental aspects. Both the body and mind need to be trained to come under control before the practice of concentration. Raja Yoga insists on a systematic path of getting into a calm and pleasant state of mind initially, then training the body to maintain good health, and finally trains the mind to be peaceful. According to Raja Yoga, when the mind is disciplined, the whole system gets disciplined. Maharishi Patanjali systematized his study of disciplining the mind into 8 steps, calling it Ashtanga Yoga Sutra. The steps are structured from learning about the fundamentals like inculcating good values in life, maintaining personality, and achieving bliss, which is usually called Samadhi. Ashtanga of Raja Yoga plays a significant role in taking the aspirant safely to the other source of awareness. Let's now explore how we can identify the essence of the 8 limbs of Ashtanga Yoga in sculptures of Indian temples. The 8-fold steps of Ashtanga Yoga is listed in Sutra 2.29. They are Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, and Samadhi. Each of the 8 steps have further divisions, but I present one example of each branch as an example. 5 sculptures have been chosen from the temples of India to superimpose the essence of Ashtanga Yoga, which are the fundamentals of yoga practice. I present slide 13, that is Yama, Universal Values. The first step of Ashtanga Yoga is Yama, which is a set of universal values. It means to restrain, control, and regulate the self and confine to the principles. They are like universal vows meant to control vitarka or negativity. They are further explained in 5 steps like Ahimsa, that is practicing harmlessness, non-violence. Secondly, Satya, adhering to truth. Asteya, honesty, that is non-stealing. Brahmacharya, sensual abstinence. And Aparigraha, to restrain from amassing material wealth, that is non-possessiveness. I present pictures of Ahimsa and Satya. The first 2 pictures are about Ahimsa, a practice of non-violence or harmlessness. It is depicted as a lady feeding birds and showing compassion to other living creatures. The third picture is about the quality in speech, about adhering to truth. These topics are abstract in thought and hence a challenging job to bring an expression to it in sculptures. In the third figure, we can see the lady with a shankha in her right hand. Shankha signifies purity. The throat region is the space of Vishuddha Chakra and communication. Shankha represents the tool or container of purified contents. The shankha here signifies the purity in speech, that is Satya or truthfulness. The communication that emerges from throat must be purified and truthful. Satya, truthfulness, is the most important qualification to be practiced. I present slide 14. Let's now see how Niyama, self-discipline, is depicted in sculptures. The second limb of Ashtanga Sutra is Niyama. They are a set of self-disciplines and spiritual observances to be followed by individuals. Niyamas means restraint of the mind, or explained in 5 steps like Shaucha, cleanliness, santosha, that is contentment, swadhyaya, self-study of scriptures, tapa, restraining the outward energy flow, and finally, Ishvara Pranidhana, self-surrender and submission to God. Of these branches, I present pictures on only one topic of Shaucha, that is cleanliness. The other branches are discussed in my book. Shaucha is a fundamental step of cleaning the physical body before yoga practice. The two levels of cleansing essential for health, happiness, and well-being are firstly, bahya, the purification of the physical body, and secondly, abhyantara, the mind. The first sculpture is a picture of Bhakya Shaucha, and the other two are about Antarika, that is Abhyantara Shaucha. They are with the scorpion. These sculptures are from Rani Ki Vav, a temple of 11th century CE, and Khajuraho, both are UNESCO World Heritage Sites. The first picture is about Bhakya Shaucha. The celestial beauty is seen with twin babies. Child is a universal symbolic representation of cheerfulness and purity of thought or mind. One baby is near her foot. The lady pours water from the purifying jug and is indicating the anal part of the baby. Indians clean the anal region with water after defecation. The other child is in her arms, holds two balls in both hands, depicting a happy state of mind and happiness with the attendant. Now, why was cleanliness of body and mind given so much importance in yoga? Hindu spirituality believes that a pure mind can only exist in a pure body, and a clean body promotes purity of thought. When neglected, the body gets clogged with waste and loses its ability to absorb nutrients and throw out waste products. When wastes are accumulated, it imbalances the nervous system and the brain. Water is used to clean the physical body, while knowledge cleans the mind. We can now see how cleanliness of mind, that is Antarika or Abhyantara Shaucha, is depicted in sculptures. In the second and third pictures, a scorpion is depicted approaching the sex organ of the lady. Her face shows agony. Lust and other negativities are compared to the silent movement of a scorpion on the costume. It may go unnoticed initially. Unstinging, the poison that gets into the system is painful. Yoga Sutra 2.32 says, Abhyantaram chittamalanam akshalanam. The impurities, dirt or filth of mind which stays within the body is indestructible and should be purified. Uprightness, honesty, purity of thoughts is cleanliness at mind levels. The dirt of mind like lust, anger, greed, envy, arrogance, jealousy that are classified as 6 enemies and called Arishad Varga. Especially lust within is compared in sculptures to a scorpion called Vrishchika in Sanskrit. As per ancient literature, the symbolism of scorpion carries an ever-present aura of passion, lust, and attraction. In sculptures, it is always depicted as a scorpion approaching the sex organ. Sexual energy, when does not succumb to the cravings of lust, anger, ego, or pride, can be used as a totem power for one's advantage in the required field. This theme can be seen in many temples of India. I present slide 15. Slide 15, it's the third step of Ashtanga Yoga, that is asanas. Asana means the posture suited to profound and abstract meditation. Of the several postures, I present only 2 examples of Vrikshasana and Matsyendrasana. The asana, the third step of Yoga Sutra, is more about physical culture and not about mere physical exercise. The careful observation of leg postures are helpful to identify the asanas depicted in sculptures. While practicing Yogasana, the body remains motionless for a stipulated period. blissful, and comfortable in a specific posture so that the body does not feel the firmness and is without pleasure or pain. It stabilizes the body and mind. Many panels in temples depict asanas or postures of meditation. The first picture is Vrikshasana, balancing the body like a tree on one leg and meditate. It's like Ekapadasana, standing on one foot and lifting the other up to knee level, which signifies the movement of the body is arrested. This asana is in many temples to depict yogis and saints. The figures in the second panel show a posture similar to Ardha Matsyendrasana, which gives a twist in the torso of the body, a posture that is practiced in yoga sadhana. The twist of torso also brings a change in the thought process from worldly to an evolved phase. The yogic postures of asana and hatha yoga are profusely depicted in the sculptures of temples. Now I present slide 16. Let's explore the fourth limb, pranayama, of how breathing techniques are depicted in sculptures. This panel is from Khajuraho temple. According to Yoga Sutras, the systematic breathing techniques are called pranayama. The word prana is life force and ayama is to lengthen or regulate, make a pranayama. Every cell of the body relies on the breath for its survival and rejuvenation. Regular practice of pranayama controls the rhythm of inhalations and exhalations. It stabilizes the flow of life force in our blood vessels and bringing the wandering mind under control. I present the panel with a picture of a teacher with disciples who demonstrate three phases of breathing techniques. They are inhalation, retention, and exhalation of breath. The panel has 4 male figures. I focus on each one of the 4 figures and for the hand gestures also. The central figure is the teacher called Acharya, holds the compilation of palm leaves, the scriptures in his left hand. His belly is bloated tight like a pot, holding or retaining the breath after deep inhalation. The holding of breath is called kumbhaka phase or retention. Kumbhaka means a pot. With the prolonged retention of breath, the yogi gains control over the muscles of the body. A similar figure to his right shows the slow and deep exhalation phase called Rechaka, where the tummy is withdrawn and moving near the back. Both figures show the ideal sitting postures called asanas and the fold at knee for the practice of pranayama. Of the 2 figures to the teacher's left, one is standing, touching his nose. He shows the breathing technique of deep inhalation by holding the nose as required in alternate nostril breathing called Anuloma Viloma Pranayama. The other figure holds the hands near the chest in Namaskara Mudra, indicating the prayer chants called mantras that can go silently with pranayama. It also guides the span of inhalations and exhalations. Together, the postures indicated the positions of Gomukhasana, Sukhasana, Virasana, and Ardha Uttanasana. The sitting postures are maintained during meditation along with pranayama. It is interesting to see sculptures in temples that indicate breathing techniques and simple physical exercises that help maintain good health. Now observe the second figure, a female figure. This is from Khajuraho group of temples. It shows Nadi Shodhana Pranayama. It's like alternate nostril breathing technique. Inhalation is from left nostril and exhalation is on the right nostril. The female figure clearly depicts covering the nostril and pressing the mind in the mid-eyebrow region with fingers. This balances and soothes the nervous system. It helps to clear blockage or blocked energy. I move to slide 17. This is a 5th step of Ashtanga Yoga, that is Pratyahara, meaning withdrawal of senses from mundane world. Pratyahara is withdrawal from external stimulus or control of sensory inputs, turning the attention of all our senses inwards. It's not consciously closing one's eyes to the external world, but consciously closing one's mind. With this withdrawal, the mind gets freedom from the clutches of mundane world. The thoughts shift from external to internal, from outer body to inner spirit. The adoption of simple living brings samyama. The picture shows a Munikanya, a saintly female figure. She shows a monastic type of dress and not focused on self-decoration. Such people enjoy a simple living, observing a withdrawal from worldly connections, which is pratyahara. The second picture depicts a couple in embrace and a monkey is being drawn into a noose, the hook. The mind is restless and metaphorically compared to a restless monkey. The mind needs to be hooked by a pasha, a noose that binds the movement of mind. It relieves the restless mind from worldly attractions, and pratyahara is achieved. The abstract knowledge of this is conveyed in sculptures beautifully. Now I present slide 18. This is the sixth set, Dharana of Ashtanga Yoga Sutra. It is maintaining a focus, that is concentration. Dharana, the sixth step of Ashtanga Yoga, insists on a steady communication in devotion to God to maintain the mind in a peaceful state for a longer time. It is remembering a deity with concentration for more extended period. The mind may wander sometimes, but it is brought under control by the practice of pranayama. The mind becomes then fit for dharana, where the mind can concentrate with ekagrata, a single pointed concentration. The picture is the depiction of deities almost similar in a row with minor variations. It is a picturization of mantras. Many temples have such representation of different deities. The figure depicts deities in repeated form, which indicates that they are related to mantra sequence and called for the visualization of mantra. The multiple number of name repetitions of deities in 21, 108, or even 1000, like Sahasranama names of deities are sung loudly, which teaches focus, concentration, and willpower. The recitation of bija mantras, taraka mantras, or the memorization of mantra in silent form or sung loudly also help to invoke a deity within. A visualization helps to understand the essence of mantras. Now I proceed to slide 19. This is the seventh step, dhyana or meditation. In the dhyana phase, the mind stays in one place, not disturbed by the distractions of any dimension, and mind remains peaceful. The practitioner remains inward looking, in tune with the inner self invoked internally. Dhyana is the self-directed awareness called antardarshana and a unifying yoga process by which yogi realizes the ultimate reality. Dhyana or meditation is the state of mind where erotic thoughts do not exist. The panel depicts deities. They are Uma and Maheshwara from Khajuraho and Orissa temples. Both panels are almost similar, though they are from different places. According to iconographic characters of accessories held, the female figure is goddess Uma. She is personification of the primary female, the dynamic principle. Lord Maheshwara Shiva with the trident as an accessory is the consciousness. He is the static male principle. Uma signifies matter, which can be seen. It is indicated by the mirror she holds. Though she holds a mirror in her left hand as an accessory, it's a tool to see oneself. She is not looking into it, but the gaze focuses on Shiva consciousness. The mind works where the gaze settles. It needs to be trained from a wandering state to a settled state before concentrating on any subject. Uma shows a self-directed awareness called Abhimukhi phase. Sensual thoughts do not exist in dhyana. The female deity embracing Shiva is symbolic of embracing knowledge. The male deity depicting as holding the breast to indicate that he is the essence of mantra. This evolution in personality can occur only when the mind enjoys an uncluttered state from all negative thoughts. Now, I proceed to slide 20. Slide 20 is the depiction of Samadhi in sculptures. It is the 8th and the last step of Ashtanga Yoga Sutra, that is Samadhi, which means total absorption. It is the absorption of the soul in profound and abstract contemplation. The state of mind is in tranquility. It's a blissful divine experience of merging with the Lord in total silence. The practitioner becomes perfect in his focus and enjoys Turiya Avastha of total bliss. In a state of Samadhi, yogi neither experiences smell, taste, touch, sound, color, nor heat or cold. He is released from the strain of physical posture and personal appearance. Samadhi state of mind leads to the knowledge on the realities and indifference to worldly enjoyments, which are very difficult to obtain. The outcome of the state of Samadhi is achieved when ego dissolves and the creative mind emerges. The mind is free from distractions, attachments, and rests steady like a flame of lamp. Now, to conclude, many explanations and commentaries created in the Smriti, the post-Vedic phase of literature, were the source to understand the oceanic nature of knowledge of Vedas. Indian temples are conglomerate monuments that incorporate many science branches along with religion. The temple sculptures are more than successful in propagating the vast knowledge of science and philosophy that has given a unique identity to Indian temple architecture. The science and knowledge of plant-based medicines, the Ayurveda, got associated with Chalamanjika figures. They were both decorative and informative figures that attracted great number of tourists by their aesthetic beauty. The heritage knowledge of yoga has been an outstanding contribution to mankind. People all over the world now have recognized and absorbed the goodness of yoga in their lives. These two branches of Vedic knowledge are very much living tradition, followed by all people in the land of Bharat. Now in slide 21, more sculptures related to yoga and Ayurveda are in my 2 books. I have given an approach that many sculptures that are called erotic are actually depictions of Hatha Yoga mudras and other branches of yoga. Both books are published as an ebook and print version, is available from Amazon. Thank you. Thanks for giving me your time.
This was marvelous. Thank you so much. You've really given us another way to look at these sculptures when we go visit any temples. So, you've given us that key, that clue to look into each sculpture with that keen eye. So thank you so much. And I'm just amazed at the kind of intensive research that has gone into looking at each sculpture and sort of deciphering what they represent. So at this point, let's see if there are any questions or comments from any of the participants who are with us in this meeting.
Yes, my name is Shashank Sinha. I'm from
Yes.
Australia. I'm listening with my wife. It is so enlightening and wonderful. It started with medicinal value based on plants and flowers, then moved to yoga, and we are so happy with the knowledge, and we have shared her amazing experience and knowledge. We are so lucky and blessed to this evening. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. This is an eye-opening for me also. Thank you very much.
We have one comment in the chat box. Superb, such an amazing talk.
I would just like to share a thing. I was very much surprised as well as happy to see the flowers that you shared in the beginning. And the Ashoka one that you said. Mother has given the spiritual significance to it as aspiration in the physical. And what you had also explained, it's really interesting how it matches so well. And also the second one, the orchid, the mother had said it is attachment to the divine.
Mm. Okay.
Yeah. It's so nice to see the Ayurvedic perspective connected with the flowers. Thank
Right.
you.
That was very good. I was also thinking about that aspiration in the physical flower.
Hello.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for organizing such beautiful talk with Rekha ma'am. Rekha ma'am, I look forward to read your books now because recently I'm living in Indonesia right now from last 10 years. And I was looking forward to some talks on Ayurveda and yoga. And here it is because Ayurveda is something which is our base, and you can understand my feeling that when we start living out of India, we get more connected to India in a way. So Ayurveda is something which is our base of life, and yoga is something which everyone should live with. So I was looking forward to this topic, and I look forward to read your books. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, it's available on Amazon, both,
Yes,
both as ebook and print version.
If there are any no more questions or comments, we can just quickly show that slide that Reshma ji had requested and see if there is any question about that.
This is the one. This is for classification of Hindu scriptures. And the other two charts show the branches of Shaddarshana and yoga, the classification of yoga as such, where yoga is placed in our literature.
Right. Reshma ji, did you have a question about this?
No, I just am trying to understand how it's really beautiful to know and clarify Shruti and Smriti once more for me, and also to understand now more clearly as to where the Upanishads fall in and why certain things cannot be questioned or certain things need to be remembered and contemplated on. Thank you. Thank you, Rekha ji, so much.
Welcome.
Ma'am, can you continue with the slide 4 and 5 as well, please?
Okay, sorry, okay. This is the Shail Balikas with trees, right?
Yeah, Shalabhajikas.
Yes.
These are the Shalabhajika figures of how they are depicted in stupas and temples.
Right. Was there a question, Falguni ji, about this?
No, as such, because I'm just starting with the topic right now. So it's like everything is new to me. So I'm, as of now, blank towards this topic. So
You can see in all pictures, the lady is always hugging the branch of the tree. That means she loves plants.
yes, and another thing is this you mentioned about this Ashoka fruit and flowers. I have yet to read more about it because this is towards menstruation, right?
Yeah.
So that was also something which I was reading about. There is Sinu Joseph, who has written a book on menstruation, and I'm part of that clubhouse where we talk about menstruation, which is in a way a taboo in the current world, but she has portrayed and correlated the menstruation with our Ayurveda and temple and lot many things. So that's something actually caught my attention. So I'll be looking into this in deep if possible from my side. But thank you, ma'am. Rekha ma'am, it's your like you have shared beautiful insights towards our ancient culture, and I'm really thankful to you and the organizers. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Yes, yes. If there are no more questions, we can just take a moment or so to thank you, Rekha ji, for this wonderful, insightful talk. I remember, when I had first contacted you, we were really hoping to actually get started, I think sometime in August or something like that.
Yeah.
But I'm really glad that finally everything fell into the place. And today, just 2 days before Dhanatrayodashi, we are having to, hear.
Yeah.
So the timing worked out just perfectly. So
Yeah. Thanks for inviting me to
yes,
present this.
Thank you so much and once again, just to all the people who have joined us, thank you, all of you, for taking the time. There are so many programs and events going on these days. So for you to choose this topic and to be present with us and to stay with us while, we were just working out little technical issues in the beginning. That's really appreciable and really, we are grateful for that. Shweta, do you have any last concluding words before we close the meeting?
Special thanks to Rekha ji, because even after a lot of disturbance and a lot of thing, still she maintained her poise, and that that really gave that sense that she has lived what she is sharing with us. So it was so wonderful to see you in that wonderful state of poise and equilibrium. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, and wish you all a very happy Deepavali and all the other auspicious days that are coming up. And stay well, stay healthy, and wishing you a very good evening ahead. Thank you so much.